Good morning, everyone. This is Jeffy Kennedy, author of Fantasy Romance and Romantic Fantasy. I'm here with my first cup of coffee. Pretty good. I'm getting used to it. Today is Tuesday. I was going to say Tuesday 7:40. Tuesday, February 1st. We are now officially into the second month of 2022. Tomorrow will be 2/2/2022, but I'm not going to podcast, so we have to take note of it today. Um, all that fertile soil, right? Keep priming that soil. Year of the Tiger, too. Happy Chinese New Year. Um, yeah. What does it mean? What does it all mean? It's like we can't predict anything anymore. It's who knows? Who knows what the year will bring? So let's see. I am trying something new. Uh, I am doing I record this on Zencaster. Every once in a while, someone asks me what I use to record this. And it was Leslie Penelope who gave me the recommendation. It's been a great recommendation. So I use Zencaster to record both the audio and the video. And it's great because when I have guests, which I haven't done for a while, I guess, but when I do have guests, I can just send them a web link and interview them and so forth. And Megan, we should have you on. I should interview you. You should come on the show sometime, and then you could see how Zencaster works too, because she was one who asked about it. So they have I use the free plan because, hey, I don't make money on this podcast, though you can contribute. Just, I never remember to say these things. There are other people who are much better about this than I am. Like they have their whole spiel at the end saying, remember to click like, remember to subscribe, um, donate to the podcast, send me your money. I'm not that great at it. Every once in a while, someone donates to the podcast. You can find it by, there's like a little heart if you're listening, or I think it's like in the show notes on YouTube. But anyway, I already pay for the Buzzsprout side because that's what I use to upload to all of the podcast places. But Zencaster, I've been doing the free version, and it's I could go up to Pro, which is like $20 a month, which would make my total outlay $38 a month between Buzzsprout and Zencaster, which, I mean, it's not a lot, but considering that I don't really have any direct income that comes from this, I just try to be aware of that. Anyway, the Pro plan offers a transcript option where it will automatically transcribe the podcast, which I know you guys are asking for. And yes, I want to be accessible. I'm hoping that there's a 14-day free trial. So we'll try it out. If you look at the podcast or I'm at the transcript, let me know what you think. I'm going to try not to edit it because that's where I got bogged down when I tried it before. I tried otter.ai and it was pretty good, but the way I talk, because I change subjects a lot and I change topics mid-sentence and I have run-on sentences. I'm sure this is like one big run-on sentence if I looked at the transcript. As a writer, it drives me up the fucking wall. I just cannot look at this and not edit it. So for like a 20-minute podcast, when I tried the transcript before, I was spending an hour editing it at least, which, reader, this is not time well spent. Not for me. So I'm going to try the free trial, but the free transcript option and see if it works well enough, because I figure $20 a month is probably worth it to be accessible. Minerva Spencer, I am looking at you. You do not need accessibility. You just don't like listening to stuff. just putting that out there. But you would benefit also. So we'll see. We'll see. Let's see what else is going on. I'm glad you guys were amused by yesterday's podcast. Uh, yeah, it was a comedy of errors. It was the Blooper podcast. I don't know what the deal was. Although today I very cleverly, with the wisdom of experience, moved my keyboard and put it aside so it's not near my coffee. So at least we eliminate that factor of blooperness. See, now I'm thinking about this transcript and I'm thinking, what is it going to do with words like blooperness? It's going to, I don't know, make it something German. I'm not going to obsess. I'm really not going to obsess about this. I may be obsessing a little bit. So anyway, yeah, yesterday was funny. Um, Glad I could give you a laugh, if inadvertently. So let's see. Yesterday, I did get my 3,000 words. It was a slower day. It took me longer. Longer and slower. Those two things go together. We are on Sesame Street. Um, oh, I can look on the screen, Jeffy. Jeez. So it was a total elapsed time of nearly 5 hours, and it took me 3 hours and 15 minutes. So about half an hour longer. Um, I don't know why. I was feeling, well, clearly discombobulated yesterday, that I like couldn't figure out the podcast recording thing that I've done. You guys know how many podcasts I've done now? I guess I passed like the 500 episode mark, but what I could tell you, because I've done 593 podcasts. Can you believe that? So one would think that I would know what I was doing by now, but no. Although I have changed technologies a few times over that. This is 5 years. This is my fifth year of doing the podcast. I started it in, well, we can answer this question too. Um, let's see. Is this right? Was I keeping track? Season 2, here's season 1. Oh, I didn't really keep track that first season of my episode numbers. I'm not sure why. I only started keeping track of those in season 2. So I did 80 episodes in season 1, and I know I started somewhere around July. I could probably look up the actual date. So amazing. When I was having lunch with my friend who writes as Katie Lane, Cowboy Romance, the other day, she was saying very nice things about the podcast and saying that she admires my consistency on this. And I've mentioned this from time to time, but every time someone gets me to try to upgrade what I'm doing on this podcast, I dig in my heels, because this is how I establish consistency. She said that she felt like, consistency is what you really need to do in order to establish a podcast and have it be successful. And she asked how my numbers were. And I said, well, they increase all the time, which is great. But, doing it for 20 minutes, 4 days a week with pretty low tech, where I don't edit, I don't revise the transcripts. We are not going to revise the transcripts. It keeps it low effort. So a lot of people who are doing podcasts, are really going for that. Let's monetize this. Let's make it hugely successful. Let's make all kinds of money. Um, I already admitted that I make no money on this podcast. I make money every once in a while, not just donating, but it used to be, like Kensington would do those ad spots, but then they stopped. So I guess I feel like not everything in life should be about making money. And and I touched on this briefly yesterday when I talked about that not the idea of monetizing creativity. I don't agree with Elizabeth Gilbert. That's whose name I was trying to think of. Where she says in Big Magic, where she says that you should not, that you should keep your day job, because if you connect money to your creative work, then you'll stifle your creativity. And I think that's a pretty nice thing to say if you're Elizabeth Gilbert and making huge money on appearances and so forth. I mean, it's really easy to say once you're making big money on your books. And it's a place of privilege, right? I mean, you keep your day job because you need to pay your freaking bills, right? Um, but if you want to make a living as a writer, you you are attaching money to your creativity. There's just no way around it, right? You're creating this thing that then is a source of money for a whole lot of people, which is cool about it, because there are a lot of people who get money from what I'm doing. I mean, Jeff Bezos is making money off of me, right? Not that he needs his percentage of my books, but he gets it, right? All those people who work for Amazon, who work for Google Play and Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Smashwords, I'm helping to pay their salaries. I pay my cover designer. I pay my editors. I pay my formatter. They're all making a living off of this thing that I'm making out of nothing. So yes, it's monetized. That said, I do think that there's something to be said for having things in your life that are not monetized, that are simply for the joy of it. I remember meeting a poet laureate, and I can't recall his name right now, no surprise. He lived in the Midwest, and he was an insurance salesman for his entire career, and wrote poems, like did a thing where he wrote one poem a night, and he ended up being the US Poet Laureate, and wonderful poems. But what's interesting to me, he came and talked at the university where I was up in Wyoming. He also painted, and he said that he sold his poems. You know, he'd gotten to the point in his career. I mean, by the time you're a US Poet Laureate, hopefully you're making at least something off of your poems. Uh, but his paintings, he said he very deliberately refused to sell his paintings, even though he had had offers that galleries had offered to carry his work and so forth. He only gave them away to people because he said he wanted to have a creative outlet that wasn't monetized. And I think that that's important. Um, Now, is that why I don't monetize the podcast? No. Probably if I could, make money off of this, that would be nice, and I would. But I also don't want to get into this relentless marketing. And that's why I haven't done really well with some of the podcast groups that I've been invited to and that kind of thing, because they all talk about, like things like grow your show and, you know, implement this and what technology you're using for that. And how do you advertise and how do you reach this market or that market? And, it's like, for something I'm putting 20 minutes a day into just so I could sit here and chat with you guys. No, I'm not going to do that. Like one of my friends said, "Oh, you should buy a ring light." I'm like, "No, I'm just not going to buy a ring light. I'll just sit here and look at my face on the laptop and it'll be fine." Although I did get a facial. Did I mention? I've never loved a facial as much as this one, and now I want to go get one every month or every other month. I might do it. So, vanity, vanity, all is vanity and chasing after the wind. Oh, I actually have something. I actually have something of substance to discuss today. Oh, I have two things of substance. I'm going to save this since I actually wrote it down. Um, I think it's funny because we watched a movie last night called Drunk Bus, like a bus for drunks, Drunk Bus, and it was funny. It was a good movie, and what was really interesting is that it had the same ending as the movie that we watched the night before, which was called Elsewhere. And I know that some of this could be because um, David found Drunk Bus because he was looking at, we've really been using more of the, if you like this movie, you might like this one. I think their algorithm's getting a little bit better. So it could be that this was a similarity. And I'm going to talk about the endings of these two movies. So if you don't want to hear it, you might, put your hands over your ears and do the la la la. But it's not like they're twist endings or anything. There's nothing earth shattering about these endings. What I found really interesting was that they resolved the story in the same way for both. And it was almost a lack of resolution. So cover your ears if you don't want to hear the ending. But both of these movies were about uh, a guy, a white guy, um, who's kind of hapless, and both reeling from previous relationships with women. And elsewhere, it's his wife died 2 years before, and he's like still grieving. In Drunk Bus, it's that his girlfriend left him. And both of these are like, that's part of the plot. No spoilers there. And so they're both sort of haplessly finding their way through life in these places where they are. One's in a beautiful place and one's in a miserable place. But and the movie's kind of like about them finding their way out of this morass of, both of them are really grieving, right? Grieving loss and trying to figure out who they are. And their friends yell at both of them for like not making decisions and not getting their shit together. And the both movies ended with the guy leaving town, leaving, and we don't know where he's going. And neither one of them do we know where he's going. It's completely unresolved that way, but they're both heading off. At least they're not staying where they were. And I found that really interesting. Like, is this I mean, I think that they probably both are arguably millennial generation because they're like guys in their 30s. And so maybe that's a metaphor for the millennial generation about, you know, not making a decision, but at least we're going to go somewhere else. I just found it really funny. Have you guys noticed this trend? Is this a thing? Maybe it, I mean, I have an N of two, so I'm not going to obsess about it. I'm using the word obsess a lot today. Um, oh, so then this is, I dropped my sticky, but I remember what it says. I saw through Nink, Novelists Incorporated, I'm a member of that. They'd sent out a thing saying that someone was looking to do PhD research on creativity, and would we be willing to do an hour-long interview to talk about our creative process. You guys know I like to talk about my creative process, so I thought, oh, okay, I'll do that. So, click on the link to get more information. And it's a study through a university, and this gal's, studying creativity. But what they would do is audio only. You turn off the video, but it's through Zoom. And for an hour, you talk as you write. You talk about your creative choices as you write. I'm going to stare into the camera now. I mean, I can't even. I'm almost wordless, but not for long. But what? What? I can't imagine trying to talk as I write. Um, I'm when I'm writing, I'm there typing away. I'm typing. I'm I'm streaming the world and the characters, and I just yeah, like I said, I'm sputtering. I almost wrote to this gal, and maybe, I don't know, do you guys think I should? Because there was an opportunity to like email and ask questions, but I want to email her and tell her, your study design is really flawed. I'm sure that's what she would want to hear, like from a former neuroscientist turned writer of fantasy romance. But she's going to get a very particular kind of creative process by going at it this way. It's just it's kind of mind-boggling to me. So those of you who are listening who are writers, do you think you could do that? Is that something you could do, is actually narrate as you are writing? I could see how it might work if you're someone who does like research and world building, that you could say, okay, now I don't even know how that would work. Now I need to name this character. So I'm going to go to behindthename.com, which is what I do, and I'm going to search for this meaning. I just can't even. I can't even. Um, but I don't need to. So, and I probably will not email this poor PhD student and give her my opinions on creative process. However, I will rant to all of you about it because that's what you don't pay me for. That was a good hook, right? Okay, well, I hope you all have a fabulous Tuesday, and I will be back to rant at you about creative process and other things on Thursday. So you all have a good week, and I will talk to you Thursday. Bye bye.